Number 1.
Jeremy Ted Alex was born on April 8, 1976, to parents Ted and Paula Coswell. Alex grew up with his mother and sister in Belfast, Maine, following his parents' divorce. He attended Belfast Area High School and played Little League Baseball. After graduating high school, Alex traveled extensively throughout the United States and worked with Greenpeace in California. He enjoyed skateboarding, gardening and playing the guitar. Jeremy Alex was last seen in Northport, Maine on April 24, 2004. He disappeared into the woods after making panicked claims that bad guys were after him. At the time of his disappearance, Alex was a self-employed landscape gardener living in Lincolnville, Maine. He and his girlfriend were in the process of moving to Northport, Maine, where they rented a home on Harbor Road. On April 23, 2004, Alex's parents drove up from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, to visit him for dinner and celebrate his birthday. Alex had just turned 28 2 weeks prior. On the morning of April 24, 2004, Alex showed up at his girlfriend's house around 11 a.m. to help move items from her place into their new home on Harbor Road in Northport, Maine. Seemingly upset and frustrated at the time, he reportedly told her that people who wanted to harm him were after him. She tried to comfort him, but to no avail, and he left shortly after. Around 5:20 p.m., Alex ran out of the woods into the backyard of his former high school teacher, who lived on Pound Hill Road, about a mile from Alex's new home in Northport. Behaving erratically with money clasped in his hand, Alex told the couple that bad guys were trying to hurt him and begged for help. The woman's husband tried to calm him down while she went to call the police, but Alex panicked and broke free. Before authorities could arrive, Alex ran back into the woods. He never returned home and has not been heard from since. On April 25, 2004, his van was found in a small parking area of the Waldo County Humane Society, off Pound Hill Road in Northport, Maine. His cell phone and keys were found inside the vehicle. From April to September 2004, authorities performed an extensive search in the wooded area around Pound Hill Road, where his van was found abandoned, but nothing of interest was uncovered. A witness recalled seeing a man who matched his description run across Route 1 near Northport around the time Jeremy disappeared. That area was also searched, but turned up no clues as to his whereabouts. Over the course of the investigation, authorities learned that Alex had struggled with substance abuse for much of his adult life, but his father stated that it was more of a binge consumption than an addiction. On the day he went missing, his girlfriend told police that Alex had used cocaine and heroin. Police speculate that it may be the cause of his hallucinations and paranoid persecutory delusions. In April 2008, Jeremy Alex's driver's license was found to be in the possession of a couple living in Northport. The couple were building a house on the ocean in May 2004, a month after Jeremy disappeared, when money and a driver's license suddenly washed up onshore. For 4 years the couple kept the random items in their home before finally turning them over to the police after a family friend recognized the man on the driver's license as being missing. The couple's house was connected to the woods, where Alex was last seen by cliffs. Over the years several sightings of Jeremy Alex have been reported, but none have led to his whereabouts. Police found no evidence, means, or motive for foul play in Jeremy Alex's disappearance. Following his disappearance, his father Ted Alex created the Jeremy Alex Fund with the Rotary Club of Portsmouth. It teaches kids the strategy behind the game of chess, real-life decision-making, and its consequences. It also tries to build awareness of the drug epidemic in our society and bring drug prevention into schools. Over the years the fund has donated hundreds of chess sets to schools and has provided grants to relevant causes in need such as music scholarships for low-income students. The circumstances of Jeremy Alex's disappearance remain unclear, and his case is currently classified as missing. His case remains unsolved. Alex was last seen wearing an olive green flannel Timberland sweatshirt, a pair of blue jeans or brown corduroy pants and sneakers. He was also carrying a red backpack. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Jeremy Alex, please contact the Maine State Police, 207-624-7076.
Number 2.
19-year-old Sean Sidi was last seen in San Francisco, California on May 21, 2013. He disappeared after telling his father he was taking a bus to Golden Gate Park. On the morning of May 21, 2013, Sean Sidi went to visit a former high school teacher of his at the French American International School, located at 150 Oak Street in San Francisco. He had spoken to his mother on the phone before that visit, telling her he was headed to school to pick up a tape. The teacher later confirmed the visit, and there's surveillance video showing Sean leaving the school on foot in an unknown direction at 11:38 a.m. At 1:30 p.m. Sidi spoke to his father on the phone, telling him he was taking the bus to Golden State Park. His phone went dead at 2 p.m., and he hasn't been seen or heard from since. Sidi rarely left home for extended periods of time and usually kept in touch with his family as to his whereabouts. A week and a half after his disappearance, police were able to trace Sidi's phone location to the eastern section of Golden Gate Park. An extensive search of the area was conducted, but no sign of Sidi was found. 6 months before his disappearance, Sidi suffered a traumatic brain injury in an accidental fall. He's considered medically fragile and needs medication. His case remains unsolved. He has braces on his teeth, a slight mustache, and his left ear is pierced. Sean has a surgical scar on the right side of his head, extending from his forehead to the back of his skull. His right eye has a slight droop. Sidi was last seen wearing a black and gray North Face hooded jacket, blue jeans, and black canvas shoes with white rubber trim. His left arm and wrist were in a black splint at the time of his disappearance. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Sean Sidi, please contact the San Francisco Police Department at 415-553-1071.
Number 3.
33-year-old Alicia Amanda Stokes, aka Mandy Stokes, was last seen in Oakland, California on November 25, 2007. She disappeared after leaving her apartment following an argument with her brother. Alicia Amanda Stokes was born on August 19, 1974. She has 7 siblings. Originally from North Carolina, Stokes moved to California to study psychology at John F. Kennedy University in Pleasant Hill. At the time of her disappearance, she was taking a semester off from college following personal difficulties. Stokes lived in an apartment on Merritt Avenue in Oakland, California, with one of her brothers, who had moved in 1 month before. At the time of her disappearance, Stokes was still grieving over the death of her father 4 years prior. She was battling with alcoholism and was taking antabuse to treat her addiction. In early November 2007, Stokes spent a month with her boyfriend in New York. They had met 2 years prior during a vacation in Las Vegas, Nevada. They went camping, visited restaurants and explored the city together. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Stokes reportedly had a mental breakdown, struggling with her emotions around her father's death, her employment status and uncertainties about her future. She had plans to move to the East Coast, to be with her boyfriend in New York, and to be closer to her mother, who lived in Atlanta, Georgia. On the morning of November 25, 2007, Stokes got into an argument with her brother in their residence over a minor disagreement. The two argued so loudly that neighbors overheard them. She later left the apartment in her car between 8 o'clock and 10 a.m., telling her brother, who was taking a shower, that she would be right back. While she was driving, Stokes spoke to her boyfriend on her cell phone, but the call was cut off after the phone either lost service or got turned off. Stokes never returned home, has not been heard from again. On November 27, 2007, her 2001 black Honda Accord vehicle was found abandoned about 2 miles away from her home, next to a ravine at 5000 Park Boulevard in East Oakland. The car's battery was dead, and it was towed away for blocking traffic. Inside the car were her wallet, ID, MP3 player and cellular phone. On December 14, 2007, investigators searched her apartment and collected unspecified potential evidence, which indicated she may have met with foul play. The circumstances of Alicia Amanda Stokes' disappearance remain unclear, and her case is currently classified as possible homicide. Her case remains unsolved. Her ears and navel are pierced. She has a scar on her forearm, a tattoo on her wrist, and a small birthmark on her thigh. She was last seen wearing running pants. She was carrying her wallet, identification, cell phone and iPod. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Alicia Amanda Stokes, please contact the Oakland Police Department, 510-238-3641.
Number 4.
22-year-old Neo Babson Maximus was last seen in Dartmouth, Massachusetts on October 12, 2007. Neo Babson Maximus was born on April 26, 1985, in Haverhill, Massachusetts, to parents Charles Sr. and Ann Allen. He is the oldest of 3 children. Maximus graduated from Haverhill High School in 2003. He was in his senior year at UMass Dartmouth with a major in psychology when he went missing and lived in an off-campus apartment in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Maximus is described as an intelligent man who enjoys playing online games. He was obsessed with tennis and believed he would someday become a professional tennis player. 2 months before his disappearance, Maximus legally changed his name from Charles Allen Jr. to Neo Babson Maximus. Neo was the name of the main character in The Matrix and also his name in Half-Life, a first-person shooter game that he played. Maximus was the name of the main character in Gladiator, and Babson was his mother's maiden name. Maximus struggled with bipolar disorder, which caused him to have manic episodes. At the time of his disappearance, he had recently stopped taking his medication and was reportedly confused and paranoid. On October 11, 2007, Maximus missed a planned lunch with his father in New Bedford. The two talked on the phone instead. Later in the evening, his sister called him to ask him why his Facebook account had been deleted. Maximus denied removing his profile and said people were after him. On October 13, 2007, Maximus reportedly tried to break into a house in the vicinity of College Lane in Dartmouth at approximately 3 a.m., waking a woman who was sleeping in her bedroom on the 2nd floor. When confronted by the homeowner, Maximus said he was looking for one of his college friends, who he thought lived there. He subsequently apologized and jumped out the 2nd floor to the ground, running away into the woods. Maximus never returned home and has not been heard from since. After his disappearance, his blue 1999 Ford Expedition with a Maryland license plate was found abandoned on the university campus. On October 14, 2007, his backpack containing school supplies was located in a Slocum Road yard next to the UMass Dartmouth. 3 days later, his sneakers were discovered in a wooded area near Chase Road. His keys, cellular phone, and credit cards, which he had with him when he vanished, have not been found. No activity has shown up on his bank account or cell phone records since his disappearance. Searches into homeless shelters and hotels proved fruitless. Reports of someone matching Maximus's description near the Dartmouth Mall and Walmart also turned up nothing. Before his disappearance, Maximus had left a couple of voicemails on his parents' cell phones saying he was heading south to Florida or Texas, but authorities can find no evidence that he traveled to either state. Police found no evidence, means, or motive for foul play in Neo Babson Maximus's disappearance. Authorities believe he walked off on his own and that his bipolar disorder may have contributed to his disappearance. The circumstances of Neo Babson Maximus's disappearance remain unclear, and his case is currently classified as missing. His case remains unsolved. Maximus wears eyeglasses, and his hair were cut very short at the time of his disappearance. He was last seen wearing black sweatpants with a red stripe down the leg, a long-sleeved white t-shirt with the words 2007 US Open on the front, and sneakers. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Neo Babson Maximus, please contact the Dartmouth Police at 508-997-9900.
Number 5.
Stephen Thel Koecher was born on November 1, 1979, in Amarillo, Texas, to parents Rolf and Deanne Koecher. He has 3 brothers and a sister and was raised in the Mormon Church. Koecher was a Boy Scout in his teens and was awarded the Eagle rank. He graduated from Amarillo High School, Texas, in 1998. He first attended Brigham Young University in Idaho before eventually graduating from the University of Utah in 2002 with a degree in communications. After college, Koecher worked for the Davis County Clipper, where his father was the executive editor, and later in the online division of the Salt Lake Tribune from March 2007 until July 2008. While he enjoyed his job at the Tribune, the overnight aspect and the city's winter temperature inversions eventually got to him. Stephen Koecher was last seen in Henderson, Nevada on December 13, 2009. He disappeared after walking away from his vehicle in the upscale Sun City Anthem residential neighborhood. In April 2009, Koecher moved to St. George for the warmer climate. In the following months, after actively sending out his resume to multiple employers, Koecher had trouble finding a full-time job due to the recession. He took a part-time job handing out flyers for a local window washing firm, but his financial situation worsened. By November 2009, he was several months behind on his rent, and the power company was threatening to disconnect electricity at the apartment where he lived alone. Koecher is a devout member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He was active in the local LDS singles ward and had signed up to volunteer in the Big Brother program. He had served a missionary work in Brazil in the past and learned to speak Portuguese. He has no criminal past, nor did he drink alcohol or use drugs. On December 10, 2009, Koecher visited his ex-girlfriend's parents' ranch in Ruby Valley, Nevada. He told her parents he thought he'd stop by to see her, but they informed him she wasn't there. He told them he was on his way to visit family in Sacramento, California, but wasn't sure if he could make the trip due to bad weather. He had lunch with them and left 2 hours later, driving back to St. George. He spoke to his mother on the phone that day about his plans to return home for Christmas, and she stated he sounded upbeat. On December 13, 2009, he received a call from a friend around 9 a.m. asking him if he could attend a church meeting for him in St. George at 11 a.m. that day. Koecher answered that he was in Las Vegas, Nevada, but could return home if needed. His friend said not to bother, and he would try to get back in time himself. Koecher did not tell family and friends the reason for his trip to Las Vegas. He never returned home and was never heard from again. His white 2003 Chevrolet Cavalier was found abandoned at the end of a cul-de-sac in the 2600 block of Savannah Springs Avenue in the Sun City Anthem residential neighborhood of Henderson, Nevada. It had been parked there since December 13, 2009. On December 17, 2009, his parents were notified about his abandoned car and filed a missing persons report after they were unable to contact him. On December 13, 2009, surveillance video from a neighbor's residence captured Koecher parking his car in the cul-de-sac at 11:54 a.m. that morning. He was later seen walking down the sidewalk, crossing the street, before vanishing out of the frame. Koecher appeared alone and didn't look disoriented. Around 5 p.m., Koecher's cell phone signal was picked up on a tower in the intersection of Arroyo Grande Boulevard and American Pacific Drive, miles north of where he left his car. Around 7 p.m., the signal subsequently pinged to a tower in Whitney Ranch, a Henderson subdivision near Sunset Drive and Stephanie Street, 2 miles north of the previous location. On December 14, 2009, his cell phone was used to check a voicemail left by his landlord in the early morning. His signal was picked up by a tower near US 95 and Russell Road and remained in the same location for 2 more days before getting lost. Inside Koecher's vehicle, authorities found a shaving kit, coats, pillows, blankets and Christmas gifts he had purchased the night before his disappearance. His laptop computer, cellular phone charger, and passport were later found at his St. George residence. His cellular phone, wallet, and driver's license were missing and have not been used since. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police canvassed the neighborhood where Koecher's car had been parked. Helicopters, all-terrain vehicles, volunteers, and sniffer dogs were used to search the area, but no sign of Stephen was found. Police found no evidence, means, or motive for foul play in Stephen Koecher's disappearance. While he was under financial stress, his family doesn't believe he would walk away from his life or commit suicide. The circumstances of Stephen Koecher's disappearance remain unclear, and his case is currently classified as missing. His case remains unsolved. He has a surgical scar behind each ear and a series of birthmarks on his abdomen, forming a shape similar to a Nike swoosh. He was last seen wearing a hooded sweatshirt, a white dress shirt, blue jeans or Dockers pants, and white sneakers. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Stephen Koecher, please contact the St. George Police Department at 435-627-4300, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department at 702-229-2907, or the Henderson Police Department at 702-267-5000.
Number 6.
19-year-old Rachel Cooke was last seen in Georgetown, Texas on January 10, 2002. She disappeared in the early morning after going for a routine jog near her family home. Rachel Louise Cooke was born on May 10, 1982 in Georgetown, Texas to parents Janet and Robert Cooke. Cooke attended Mesa Junior College in San Diego, California, and was planning to transfer to a college in Los Angeles, California to study fashion design. In early 2002, Cooke left San Diego during her college winter break to visit her family in the North Lake subdivision, northwest of Georgetown, Texas. Cooke was part of a cross-country team in high school and was an accomplished runner. On January 10, 2002, Cooke was still asleep on the couch when her parents left for work at 8 a.m. in the morning. When she awoke later, Cooke prepared for her daily 4-mile jog and called her boyfriend, who stayed in California, around 9:15 a.m. She is believed to have left from her family's residence at approximately 9:30. Between 10:30 a.m. and 11 a.m., a neighbor saw her walking on Netch's Trail, about 100 or 200 yards from her family's residence. Cooke never returned home and has not been heard from again. When her father returned home around 3 p.m., Cooke was nowhere to be seen. The two had previously planned to spend the afternoon together, shopping for a wedding she was getting ready for. At the time of Rachel Cooke's disappearance, several witnesses recalled seeing a late-model white car driving in the neighborhood, possibly a Chevrolet Camaro or Pontiac Trans Am. The unidentified driver was described as a young man with a dark complexion, possibly of Hispanic descent, with slicked-back black hair. Another man was reportedly seen inside the car. In August 2006, 31-year-old Michael Keith Moore confessed to the murder of Rachel Cooke. At the time, he was serving life sentences in prison for the murder of a 14-week pregnant woman, Christina Moore, in Round Rock in 2003. On a videotape recorded in prison, Moore stated that he saw Cooke jogging along the road that morning. He says he struck her head with a hammer and drove her to a second location where he raped her. Her body was wrapped in tarp weighed down with rocks and dumped into the Gulf of Mexico, near Matagorda Bay. On November 9, 2006, Moore reneged a plea agreement he had struck with prosecutors and pleaded not guilty in the death of Rachel Cooke. He claimed that he fabricated the confession for preferential treatment in prison. The murder charge was subsequently dropped as there was no DNA evidence to physically link him to the crime, and his confession might not have been admissible in court. In April 2018, police recovered a 1998 Pontiac Trans Am tied to 3 persons of interest in Rachel Cooke's disappearance. Preliminary tests on the car tested positive for the possible presence of blood on the passenger floorboard and passenger door model, according to a statement by the Williamson County Sheriff's Office. Additional testing is being conducted, but the full details of the results will not be released in order to protect the integrity of the investigation, the sheriff's office said in a statement. Foul play is strongly suspected in Rachel Cooke's disappearance, and authorities believe she was taken against her will by a stranger. Her father died in 2014 after a long illness, never knowing what happened to his daughter. A $100,000 reward is being offered by the FBI and Williamson County Sheriff's Office for information leading to the location of Rachel Louise Cooke. The circumstances of Rachel Cooke's disappearance remain unclear, and her case is currently classified as missing. Her case remains unsolved. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Rachel Cooke, Please contact the Williamson County Sheriff's Department 512-943-1300, the FBI at 800-225-5324.